your perseverance moving to the new locations, those type of things. It's really impressive when you stand from the outside and look on the inside. And so I'm proud to know you and proud to be associated with, Operation Backpack as well. So,
thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. So again, this is Health Talk, and again, this is Operation Backpack. In our community, we all have a platform to stand upon, and we want to make sure that we're doing our best in our community to make sure that nobody is left behind. So good day and good health. Hello, my name is Dr. Fred Sylvester from New Hanover Chiropractic, and welcome to this episode of Health Talk. Today we have a topic that we're going to be exploring here, and we have Dr. Fleischer from Brookside Family Practice with us. She is an expert in the component of what we're looking to discuss here, which is diabetes today. And it's a major concern from healthcare to cost to health in general at this point. And what we wanted to do is start to give some light and some public information about how we can look to recognize some different things on diabetes, and then most importantly, how to prevent things. So, welcome, Dr. Fleischer.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So the biggest question we have right now is there's a couple different things with diabetes. There's a couple different types. What is diabetes?
So, pretty simply said, diabetes is a metabolic disorder, which is a result of insulin resistance in most patients. And in some patients, it's about decreased insulin output from our pancreas.
Okay.
The result of that is an elevation in your blood sugars.
Okay. So when you're looking at diabetes and that type of stuff, and you hear there's some type 1, type 2, even possibly type 3 now, gestational, what are some differences between them?
So in the type 1 diabetic, that used to be called juvenile onset.
Yes.
It's where your pancreas doesn't make enough insulin or any insulin to bring those sugars under control.
Okay.
The type 2, formerly known as adult onset,
right,
is a true insulin resistance. We have it. We actually have too much of it.
Okay.
And it causes the sequelae of events of inflammation and affecting of every organ system.
Sure.
We actually call it type 2 now because we're seeing children as young as the age of 9 being diagnosed with diabetes.
So it's no longer adult onset then?
Correct.
Okay. So maybe we should just kind of maybe explain a little bit of the physiology. I mean, so when we're talking about when somebody takes some food in, what kind of happens? Does it disappear into a black hole, or how does this insulin kind of factor into it?
So it depends on the type of food that you're eating.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we ingest any kind of meal, it gets broken down into glucose.
Okay.
If you have a certain amount of glucose spike in the blood, depending on the quality of that sugar, the insulin will go up to help bring that sugar back down again.
Okay.
The effect that we want to see is one where the sugar goes up a little, the insulin goes up a little, they both come down to normal.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a ripple effect throughout the day if you feed yourself every 3 to 4 hours.
So what's the primary reason for glucose? What does it do?
Glucose gives us all the energy that we need into our cells to function.
So if we don't have insulin to bring that in, hence
Well, if we don't have enough insulin to bring it up into the liver and into the muscles and out of the bloodstream, it's going to sit in the blood.
Okay.
That causes an inflammatory cascade, and it affects, again, almost every organ system.
Okay. So what is some of the signs and symptoms associated with diabetes?
So for many people, especially the type 2 population, they actually may not have any symptoms, which is a little bit scary when you think about it. But for many, it can be things like weight loss, fatigue, excessive thirst, excessive hunger, excessive urination. Sometimes you can have numbness and tingling, and for men, they can present with erectile dysfunction.
So lots of different things is affecting many different systems at that point.
Correct.
Do we have any idea what the prevalence is on like a national average and maybe even on a state level? What do you actually see in your office?
So in the office, I'd say about 75% of my patients have some form of diabetes, whether it's pre-diabetes or diabetes proper. Nationally, it's about 175 million people.
Wow. And
in the state of Pennsylvania, I believe the most recent data was about 35% were either pre-diabetic or diabetic.
Right. So when we're looking at, some of the stats that we're looking at some of the different things that the world is projecting. They're saying, that we can go from 171 million to possibly 366 million within a short 15 years at this point. Is that pre-diabetic group that you're looking at, and how those numbers would be kind of determined at this point?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if a patient presents to your office and they come in with some itchiness between the fingers or some pins and needles into the hands, and you're thinking diabetes, what's the standard workup and what do you typically do with that patient? What can they expect?
At first, you start with the history. You ask them a little bit more about what they've been doing in their lifestyle,